For more than a century, one argument has shaped revolutions, collapsed empires, and divided entire continents: capitalism versus socialism. Not as theories in books, but as real systems that determined who prospered, who suffered, and who survived. And here's what almost everyone gets wrong: both systems failed in ways their founders never anticipated. Welcome to Deep Finance Pro, where we cut through ideology and break down the economic forces that built the modern world. For most of human history, there were no systems. There was survival. Kings owned everything, peasants owned nothing, and progress moved slow. Then the Industrial Revolution detonated like a bomb. Factories, machines, and private capital created more wealth in 100 years than in all previous human history. But that explosion came with a dark side: exploitation, child labor, pollution, and soul-crushing inequality. Capitalism produced innovation and misery. This is where socialism rose. Marx and Engels looked at the brutal conditions of the 1800s and concluded that capitalism was built on stolen labor. If workers owned the factories collectively, wealth could be shared fairly. Logical, moral, powerful, on paper. But theory didn't survive reality. The first full-scale test came after the 1917 Russian Revolution. The Soviets nationalized almost everything: land, factories, banks. Without prices, competition, or incentives, the economy froze. Shortages, inefficiency, and famine hit millions. The system couldn't answer basic questions: what to produce, how much, for whom. But capitalism wasn't winning either. The Great Depression annihilated banks and jobs, exposing how fragile unregulated markets could be. Then came the trial by fire, World War II. Capitalist nations like the US unleashed innovation and production at unprecedented speed. The Soviet Union used centralized planning to mobilize every resource. Both systems had advantages, and both had cracks. From 1945 to 1991, the world became a giant experiment. The Soviet bloc chose central planning. The West adopted regulated capitalism with safety nets. The scorecard became obvious. Yes, the USSR industrialized fast, but it stagnated even faster. Factories produced useless goods just to meet quotas. Farms collapsed. Consumers waited years for basic appliances. By the 1980s, the Soviet system simply couldn't compete. Capitalism, however, evolved. Governments added regulations, deposit insurance, labor protections, and social programs. Not perfect, but flexible. And in economics, flexibility beats purity. The Cold War didn't end because one ideology won. It ended because one system adapted and the other didn't. But capitalism's victory didn't solve everything. Globalization and financialization fueled huge inequality, wage stagnation, and crises like 2008. Meanwhile, softer socialist ideas reappeared: universal health care, free education, wealth taxes, stronger unions. Today, no country on earth is purely capitalist or purely socialist. Every successful economy is a hybrid: markets plus state power, incentives plus protections, freedom plus guardrails. Look at Scandinavia: free markets, high taxes, strong safety nets. Look at China: state-directed capitalism with government control over strategic sectors. Look at the US: unmatched innovation paired with rising inequality and unstable mobility. These systems don't fit old definitions, and that's exactly the point. Capitalism's engine is incentives, innovation, competition, productivity. But it also generates inequality and instability. Socialism's strength is equality and dignity. But without incentives, productivity collapses. Human behavior doesn't disappear under any system. In capitalism, ambition drives innovation until it drives exploitation. In socialism, equality builds solidarity until power turns into repression. The real question isn't which system is better. It's which system can correct its own mistakes faster. And history gives a clear answer: the adaptable system wins. The future won't be capitalist or socialist. It will be a customized hybrid built for the 21st century, where AI disruption, climate risk, global debt, and demographic collapse won't care about ideology. The countries that succeed will mix private innovation with strategic public investment, economic freedom with smart regulation, incentives with guardrails. Because no society can survive without motivation, and no society can thrive without protections. Power must always be checked, whether it's held by billionaires or bureaucrats. If this changed how you see the capitalism versus socialism debate, subscribe to Deep Finance Pro. History doesn't repeat, but it explains everything. And we break it down every week.